Hello Internet, my name is Callie and today we are going to paint a picture. So real quick before I start talking about the painting, these are some of the materials that I used. I painted this in gouache and I am showing you all the gouache paints I have, but I'm pretty sure that I only used what was in that Winsor Designer's Gouache palette, and that's just because that was what was in the palette already that I had pre-mixed up. I haven't touched this palette in a really long time. It was a little bit dried up, but gouache is reactivatable to a point, so I really only had to use fresh white doing that. And then I also used some Benicci brushes. I can't remember what they are, and I'm too lazy to go get them. So I only used the number 5 of those brushes. I'll put them down below. Yeah, so this is Inundated. I guess that's what I'm going to call it. It is gouache. I used Canson watercolor paper, and this painting kind of came about by accident. It was one of those Bob Ross happy accidents sort of thing, because I was kind of going into this expecting to only paint just kind of like a figure drawing just to practice, and I had an idea originally that I wanted to paint a naked woman wearing a scooter helmet or a motorcycle helmet, because I was at a coffee shop this morning and there was a guy who had a really cool, like, vintage looking scooter helmet under his arm, and it looked really cool, and I was like, okay, that's like something that I could use, like I could draw inspiration from. And I took like kind of a creep shot picture of just the helmet, and I was planning on using that, but then I found a source of like naked lady pictures. I can put that down below too. It's really helpful when you want to figure draw but you don't have anybody that you can make naked in front of you. So I have one of those pictures and then the helmet, and that's what I was planning on doing. And so I was sketching the picture and I accidentally sketched it too large and too high up on the page. There wasn't any room on the top for the helmet, and there also wasn't really any room for the feet either. I don't know. And so I was thinking, like, compositionally this is not good, but the sketch I felt was good, and I was too lazy to erase it and start over, because that was like the 3rd time I had tried to draw it. So instead I was like, okay, let's cut off the head and the feet. And I was thinking of like creative ways to do that, and I kind of came up with this weird surrealist, like, upside down and right side up thing, where her head is in like an ocean and her feet are also in the ocean. So if you were to cover one half of this painting, it would look correct, but with the two of them together it looks like physically wrong. And this is something that I really love to do in my paintings, so I have not painted really in a long time. I talked about this in my last video, but I got to college for painting, and now that I'm here and my major is not like a fine arts major, I don't paint anymore really at all. And I'm really sad about that, because I love to paint, I love to do fine art, but it's not something that I personally want to make a career out of, so that's why I'm not doing that in school. Yeah, so I got to school and I don't paint anymore. But when I used to paint, I used to take photographs of things that were real, so a lot of the time I would use dogs or just other animals, and then I would manipulate that to make it surrealist and make it weird. So I had like there was a dog, I called it Salvador Molly, because my dog had really stretchy skin, so if you picked her up by kind of her skin folds, she would just look like this weird, like, stretchy, elastic creature. So I made a painting where she was suspended by balloons in the sky. And yeah, so it's just like regular pictures of things that are kind of interesting, and then I would take that picture almost directly, but then manipulate the background or manipulate some parts of it to make it weird and surreal and, like, unreal. So that's kind of what I did with this. I took like a regular picture of a nude woman standing kind of contrapposto, and I manipulated it to make it weird. And that's something that I really love to do. It's something that I feel like those are my favorite kinds of art. Those are my favorite things that I like to look at, and not to toot my own horn, but this is something that I like to look at. Like, I'm really proud of this piece. I'm really proud of what it ended up to be, and I feel like, personally, that's kind of 1 out of every 10 things that I make is something that I'm really into and I'm really feeling it, which is okay. I mean, as long as I keep making things, then I'll have 1/10 of the things I will love. Yeah, so to talk a little bit about my, like, technique for doing this. So we've been studying Renaissance art and Baroque art in art history class recently, and I am so into that. Like, I'm really into, I can't remember what his name was, but there was a triptych that this guy made that was a, like, one panel was before life, and then, or no, one panel was the Garden of Eden, and then the next panel was after the temptation, and after, like, after they sinned and then everything went terrible, and it was all these people, like, partying and whatever, but there was a lot of really strange things going on. Like, there were people inside of fruits, and, like, animals that were dancing, and, like, a woman that was in an oyster, and then people having sex. It was really strange. And then on the last panel, there was this depiction of hell, which is, you know, kind of a judgment, like, you know, if you misbehave like all these people, then you're gonna go to hell. And it was so strange. It was such a surreal painting. And this is long before, like, Salvador Dali and Picasso and all of those, like, weird painters that you think kind of invented this. Like, this is a really long time coming. So it was just really strange. I will find that in my notes when I go finish this and put the image in the description. It's really, really interesting. I really like that period of art history. I wasn't really expecting it. I kind of figured, I don't like history in general. Like, I don't like history. I always hated history classes. It's boring to me. But that period, Renaissance and Baroque art period of art history, is just amazing to me. So there was also a painting that I was kind of subconsciously inspired by, and I'm going to completely butcher the name of this. It is Les Scarpolette, The Swing, by Jean-Honoré Fragonard, and the subject matter is not remotely the same, but I remembered seeing this painting. It's a woman on a swing, and she is, it's got this, the woman's dress is this beautiful, like, baby pink, and then the scene around her is like this gray blue and a gray green, and then a really deep black shadow surrounding it, and I just think that was so beautiful, and I really love that color palette. That kind of, it's almost like it's complementary, because you have blue, and then you have kind of a pinky orange, peach color for the skin, and complementary colors like that just really pop out. And then just the black, I'm really into this. Okay. And yeah, so I think this is my first time painting water, and I don't know, I've made some mistakes in this that I'm not going to point out. I'm going to let you guys find those for yourself, because I don't want to be self-depreciative or point out my mistakes. Like, hopefully you guys don't notice, like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, if you go into a critique and you're like, this is what I did wrong, and this is what I did wrong, and this is wrong, and this looked weird, and whatever, like, then people are just gonna look at that. But if you keep that to yourself, then they might not find out that you did everything wrong. So anyway, there are mistakes in the water, especially with the lighting, and I really liked to paint the water. I feel like it turned out well enough. There is an amazing artist, her name is Robin Skylark, on YouTube, and she used to paint interesting water scenes, but she started painting really weird, surreal things as well now that she's evolving and whatever. But her water is so amazing, what she did, and I used to watch a lot of those videos, and so I kind of reference that. I will also, if I remember to, link some of her videos down below of how to paint water if you guys are interested at all. because it is honestly just amazing. So I was kind of thinking about that and like some of the techniques that she was talking about, and I think the water turned out okay. I was not sure about it at first. I think it's good. And then I kind of put some of the pink in the water, and oh, I was listening to Dance Gavin Dance, Death of a Strawberry, and I haven't been listening to that kind of music really lately, but it's really good, and I was feeling it a lot, and you guys should listen to it too. I feel like I'm just like, the whole voiceover of this is just me recommending things, like, this is my rec list, go check out this artist, and this Renaissance painter, and this, like, music. But anyway, that is my painting. I don't know what story it has, what her spiel is. I was looking up some kind of, like, mythological stories to go along with it, but I couldn't really find anything that I liked, and I felt like it was a little bit cliche to call her a water nymph, or any of that, like a naiad. So, I'm just gonna call it Inundated. Inundated kind of just means flooded with water and drowning, and it's kind of a psychological thing. It's kind of like when, you know, when you're trying to walk through water, or run through water, and it's really hard, and you just feel like you're being held back, and then, you know, the water on the head is kind of the same, like when you're trying to think, but then your thoughts, you just feel like thinking is the equivalent to running through water sometimes, just when you're stressed out, or when there's, I don't know, I'm trying to assign meaning to things that maybe don't have any meaning. But at the same time, I don't know, it's kind of whatever you want to make of it. I just kind of made this because I thought it looked cool, but at the same time, you know, I could assign meaning to it if I wanted to. Yeah, so this is some of my, like, peel porn, you know, to get some crisp edges. I used artist tape that I stole from my roommate, sorry. But I used artist tape to do this, and then I kind of heated it up with a blow dryer so that it would not stick. And then I also did something that I thought was cool. I signed both corners of this, so no matter which way you orient it, it kind of looks like the right way. I don't know if I'm gonna make, some people have asked me for prints of this since I posted on my Instagram. So if you guys are interested in prints or whatever, let me know. I can maybe make some, or if anybody wants to buy the original, that would be cool. But yeah, until then, have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want to look at some more art of mine, or just pictures of my dogs, I have an Instagram at Mollo. It's spelled the same as my username, M-O-L-L-O. And I will see you all in the future. Bye!